Okay, today my speech is on why children are graduating from high school without knowing how to read. Children should know how to read, especially by the time they graduate from high school. They shouldn't even graduate if they can't read, because they are going to have trouble after they graduate, since they won't be able to fill out applications for jobs, rental home, and etc. They won't be able to function good enough to get a job. They can't read. They can't even go to college without being able to read. I think if they can't read, they're going to end up being homeless, and because they're not going to have a job to be able to support themselves, or they're going to have a home but they're going to be on welfare. I think keeping teens who can't read the extra year and focusing on getting them to read in reading class and phonics and tutoring is a good thing. No child should be socially promoted just because it will help their self-esteem. I don't believe in social promotion. I also believe there are other alternatives before labeling children and putting them in special education classes. As a child, I think if nothing else works, and that's the last alternative, they should be put in special education classes. I know I was in special education as a child, but some children are visually and hearing impaired and have some trouble learning to read, and especially in the regular classroom. It's because sometimes you can't see the chalkboard, or you might not understand if you have a learning disability. Also, you ought to remember everyone has a unique learning style, and we all learn differently. Our nation's children are not receiving an adequate education because I believe the No Child Left Behind Act is failing our nation's children. Teachers focus too much on testing, and they don't spend enough time teaching the subjects that will prepare children for the testing at the end of the year. The No Child Left Behind Act is definitely leaving some of the children behind. On June 19th, National Assessment of Education Progress, NAEP, known as the nation's report card, reported that 36% of fourth graders cannot read at what the test defined as basic level. The figure for whites is 25%, for Latinos 56%, and for blacks 60%. Why is the rate of high school graduates failure? Who really failed it, the students or the system? Why are children graduating from school when they cannot read? Children can't read for many reasons, but one of the problems is there are teachers who believe the law of social promotion. They promote the child into the next level just so that they do not feel bad about themselves and develop a low self-esteem. They say that low self-esteem leads to a higher rate of drug abuse and dropout rates. Children that are socially promoted really have not learned anything. I think children should not be socially promoted. I believe if a child don't pass the subjects and can't read, they should be retained. I think the children who have been retained and those having trouble should need tutoring that should be mandatory. Social classes, special classes help children get caught up and are a good thing. How can parents get involved, and what techniques can they use to get their children to read? Parents should be concerned about their children's education. They should help their children learn to read or read better. Getting your child into a good phonics program at an early age is a good thing. Because it'll help them master the basic skills that they need to be able to read. You can read to your children and have them read to you. You can make flashcards and have your children read them and see how many they get right. Make them study the words they don't know and test them at the end of the week. Give them a sticker or a piece of candy for a reward if they know the words. I think homeschooling your children is a good thing. I think so because you could spend quality one-on-one time with them that the public school teacher could not because of the regulations of the No Child Left Behind Act. Homeschooling does take a lot of time and patience though, but it is well worth it. Sometimes children do have learning disabilities that slow or hinder their learning. I do not believe in labeling. Sometimes children just don't master the basic phonics skills. It just takes some children longer to learn to read. Children can learn to read even if they have a learning disability. There are teachers who say that children with learning disabilities cannot learn, but they are so wrong. One thing they need to teach children with learning disabilities to spell, because if they learn to spell the words right, they will learn to read them. I think good spelling is being able to read goes hand in hand. All high schools should offer vocabulary and reading class to those who are not reading at grade level. Children must go to school because it's mandatory. It's wrong when children graduate without knowing how to read and write. Children deserve a good quality education if they are not receiving an adequate education.